Today, let's look at this dot grid journal. Hello, I'm Ashton. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be looking at this dot grid notebook. It is by Piccadilly ink, and I'll leave a link to this in the description. You cannot order this online. I got this at Half Price Books, and I talked about this in a previous video where I said that it was not quite the dimensions that I wanted for my bullet journal, so I wasn't going to use it, but I am going to review it, and I'm going to give it away to one of my subscribers. So let's get started and have a look at this journal. So my objection to it was that it was too narrow. So it is 13 centimeters wide, or for those of us still stuck with the old system, it looks like it's just a smidge over 5 inches wide, like 5 1/16 maybe. I don't know, 13 centimeters. Let's just use the metric system. And then it's 21 centimeters tall, or it's 8.5. So it's sort of a standard, no, 8 1/4. So it's sort of a standard height, but it's definitely narrower. But you know, some people may prefer that. It says, well, I'm going to take the plastic off. And I fail at plastic every time, and I should know better. So I'm just going to get a cutting tool because I suck at taking plastic off of things without killing myself. All right, here we go. Okay, that was terrible. All right, so what we have here, it's just some examples on this back thing, the back part of the paper, what you can do with a bullet journal. What it says on the front, it says featuring 240 pages, so that's a good amount of pages, dot grid format, inner pocket, numbered pages, key section, and index section. And these are some more examples of some things you can do with bullet journals. It does have an elastic close. The feel of this is sort of interesting. It's got this sort of textured cover, which is very attractive. But it doesn't feel like it's vegan leather or anything like that. Before I go any further, I did want to do a size comparison. This is my Leuchttrum that is in its cover. So I think I'll take the cover off so we can compare them. So this is the size comparison between the two, and you can see from this how much wider the Leuchttrum is to this Piccadilly Incorporated. And then the height difference is really minimal. You can barely, that's not very much at all. And then from the back, the spine, they look like they're about the same. This is 240 pages, and I want to say the Leuchttrum is 249. I don't remember. I'll just get this out of the way. On the back, it has this nice little embossed Piccadilly logo, so that's pretty cool. Overall, it's a very attractive journal, I've got to say, and it does feel good in your hands. So let's look inside. All right, so it has these very yellow pages with it does have a place for a key and a place for your name and contact. And it has the pocket in the back as promised. And it does, I see now that I've opened it, which I didn't realize before because it didn't say, it does have a bookmark. Let me see if I can find that. where are you, bookmark? There we go. It has a one ribbon bookmark. So I don't know how much people care about having multiple bookmarks, but it does have a ribbon. It has page numbers. And I want to compare the paper color to the Leuchttrum. So let's look at that. It's maybe a little darker than the Leuchttrum. There's not a whole lot of difference. They're both pretty cream colored. This one's probably a little bit darker. The dots on the Piccadilly go all the way to the edge of the paper. If you can see that, on all sides, on the bottom, on the sides. And then they go not quite to the spine. So here are the index pages. It does have 4 pages of index, which I do like that. I think I've said in my previous videos that I paste more index pages into my Leuchttrum. So it has 4. If that's something you care about, it does have a fair amount of index pages. So let's look at the dots. They are they're sort of dark, I think. The paper definitely feels thicker than the Leuchttrum, but I'll get to that when I get to the pen test. If we measure, let's measure the dots. These look like 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters, so they're 5 by 5 millimeters square. These are 41 dots down, so you have 40 boxes down, and then there are 25 dots across, so you have 24 boxes across. So this is a pretty narrow sort of journal. I flipped to the very back of the journal to do a pen test, and what I notice here is that the page numbers seem to be running off the page. So this is page 240, it's the last page, and 239 has really run off the page. I don't know if that's a printing mistake or if the narrowness of the journal became a problem as the page numbers got bigger. Looking at the other pages, I want to say that it's a problem, it's a printing problem, because these earlier pages are all fine, if you can see that. Here's, get some good lighting. All right, so I'm going to do a pen test. I have here my normal bullet journal supplies, which I talked about when I did my bullet journal flip through. And I have an additional Sharpie because I do not use Sharpies in my bullet journal because we all know what happens there, but I thought I'd give it a test anyways. I also have my student grade watercolors. That's that I do use in my journal, so we're going to look at those too. So let's just go through the pens that I have here in my bullet journal supply. So first I'm going to try my Pilot Metropolitan fountain pen. Make sure I'm on the right page. There's a little bit of bleed through, maybe a bit of ghosting. I'm going to speed up for the rest of this pen test. What I'm using here are the pens that I normally use in bullet journals. I've talked about these pens before, and these are the ones that I would use in any normal bullet journal. So I'm trying to give this journal, for the most part, just a regular pen test. This includes the Pentel Touch brush pen and mild liners, which I use quite a bit in bullet journals. And then the Sharpie, which, as I said before, I don't actually use, but I just thought I'd give it a test on the paper to see how it did. And I also don't use Tombow Fudenosuke, but I know a lot of people like those. I actually prefer the Pentel Touch, but anyway, I thought I'd give a test with that. And a Pigma Micron, because I've started using the Eddings Draw Liner. And then I pulled out a Copic just to really give it a hard time, because we all know that Copics do not do well in bullet journals. And this is a Crayola Super Tip, which I might use for my spreads, but I don't use it day to day. All right, these are all the inks that I used. So there's a bit of ghosting, but it's not terrible, really. The Sharpie definitely went through. The Copic went through. Everything else did pretty good. I would say there's no bleed through. And the ghosting is there, but it's to be expected. What did they say this was as far as... I don't think they said what the paperweight was. I'll have to look that up, and I'll include that when I edit this video, because it doesn't say on here what the paperweight is. Nope, I don't see it anywhere. All right, so that's the pen test. Overall, I did pretty well. It is not, I wouldn't say it's coated the way Leuchttrum is, but it was pretty pleasant to write on. So let's look at watercolor. Looks like it's buckling the paper a tad bit, but not bad at all, really. And these do not bleed through. So I'd say it's pretty good for watercolors. And the last thing I'm going to do is a smudge test, and this Metropolitan is the one that is the smudgiest on the Leuchttrum, so let's give this a try. So this will be immediately. That's 5 seconds. So it looks like it's going to smudge if you hit it immediately, but if you wait as little as 5 seconds, it's going to be fine. So in summary, overall, I think this is a very nice little notebook. I think if I weren't so already set in my bullet journaling ways, I would probably enjoy this quite a bit. It's got a lot of the features that you look for in a bullet journal. It's definitely as good as far as the ghosting and bleed through issue go with the Leuchttrum. I believe I paid $6 or $7 for it at Half Price Books. The only issue with this one is you have to find someone who's going to actually sell it, because you can't order it online. It only sells wholesale, not retail. But overall, I would be pretty happy with this if this was what I was going to use for my first bullet journal. I think it's a very nice little journal. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to give this away to one of my subscribers. Thanks for sticking with me through this review. Have a great day, and as always, don't forget to take a left.